The novelization for The Force Unleashed provides a tremendous amount of lore and great insights into the story of Darth Vader's secret apprentice Galen Marek, also known as Starkiller. We'll first look at the primary question of our video, which is what happened to Starkiller's lightsaber after his duel with Darth Vader and confrontation with Darth Sidious on the Death Star, as depicted at the end of the first The Force Unleashed novelization. But what I really want to do is explain exactly what lightsaber this was, as the lightsaber used by Starkiller in his final battle against the Sith was not his red-bladed Sith lightsaber he spent years using as the apprentice of Darth Vader. It was a different lightsaber entirely, and I'll be sure to provide the full story of Starkiller's lightsaber, which is itself a great story and crucial to the character's ultimate path. Starting with the primary question, the fate of Starkiller's final lightsaber was a result of his confrontation with Vader and Sidious. After defeating Vader in lightsaber combat, which we looked at in more detail in a recent video explaining Starkiller's thoughts after seeing Vader without his mask on, the novelization explains that Starkiller rejected striking Vader down, in turn rejecting the dark side. In the novel, Starkiller also chose the same path for Darth Sidious, who attempted to make Starkiller take his first step towards becoming his apprentice by striking him down. It was this decision by Starkiller to let both Sith live that prompted Sidious to begin attacking Jedi Master Kota with Force Lightning, which was quickly intercepted by Starkiller, taking the full impact of the attack himself. As Starkiller and Sidious struggled, with the energy of the Force Lightning engulfing both of them, a massive shockwave resulted, destroying a significant portion of the Death Star's observation dome where the battle took place, allowing Starkiller's friends and the previously captured rebels to escape. While the badly damaged Vader and Sidious were both caught in the powerful explosion, the two Sith Lords would search for Starkiller. They eventually found him, with Vader concluding his former apprentice was dead. Vader and Sidious then discussed what they should do next, recognizing that their plan for Starkiller completely backfired, as his sacrifice would only inspire the rebels and give them hope. After advising Vader to be patient rather than immediately starting to locate the rebels, Sidious left Vader alone with Starkiller. And it's then that Vader did something that went completely unnoticed by Sidious or anyone else surrounding him by that time. Looking down at his fallen apprentice, Vader raised his massive boot and simply crushed Starkiller's lightsaber to dust, destroying the weapon he provided Starkiller to carry out his orders. So unfortunately, Starkiller's lightsaber that he used in the first The Force Unleashed story didn't survive the confrontation with Vader and Sidious, and doesn't have an extended story like Obi-Wan's lightsaber does after Episode 4, or even Ki-Adi-Mundi's lightsaber within canon after the Clone War. But again, the question remains, what exactly did Darth Vader crush to dust on the Death Star? Of course, in the novelization, Starkiller did not go into his duel with Vader wielding his red-bladed Sith lightsaber, but a blue lightsaber. But we do know a bit about the first lightsaber used by Starkiller for the majority of his life. It was this red lightsaber that was instrumental in the emergence of Starkiller as a powerful apprentice to Darth Vader. It was used by him in numerous sparring sessions against Vader and Proxy. But more than anything, Starkiller's first red lightsaber saw him develop a nightly meditation where he would stare into the red blade of the weapon, which he held right in front of his eyes. By doing this, he could stare into the blade until the world surrounding him vanished, and he was left with only the dark side flowing through him powerfully. I think we can also say that the crystal for Starkiller's first lightsaber was a red synthetic crystal, as he does reference obtaining new red crystals from Vader to make a new Sith blade in the novelization as well. Vader's first red lightsaber in Legends was created with a synthetic crystal provided to him by Darth Sidious in the days following Episode 3. So it makes sense that Vader would provide the same to Starkiller, making his blade a true Sith lightsaber given the long history of the Sith using red-bladed lightsabers usually made with synthetic crystals, as explained in the Jedi vs. Sith: The Essential Guide to the Force. But regardless of the specific details of Starkiller's first red lightsaber that he used for years before the story of The Force Unleashed, this was not the crystal, or the hilt, or any other component of the lightsaber crushed by Darth Vader's boot following their confrontation. The entirety of Starkiller's red-bladed lightsaber was lost after he was first betrayed by Vader on the Super Star Destroyer the Executor, following his mission to Felucia to confront Jedi Master Shaak Ti. After Vader ignited his lightsaber through the torso of his apprentice and then used the Force to attack Starkiller at the behest of Sidious, ultimately throwing Starkiller out of the viewport and into the vacuum of space, Starkiller's red-bladed lightsaber, in the words of the novelization, was lost forever. So if Starkiller's initial red lightsaber was lost after Darth Vader's attack, what lightsaber did he use from that point forward? When he regained consciousness on board Vader's cruiser, the Imperial, and ultimately accepted Vader's explanation, Starkiller would agree to help enact their vengeance against the Emperor by assembling an army to oppose him. And to assist Starkiller with this mission, he was provided with a new lightsaber by Vader, which when activated by Starkiller, didn't have a red blade or even a blue one yet, but green. It took Starkiller a moment to recognize that the hilt wasn't that of his previous lightsaber, but upon seeing the green blade, he immediately understood that it was the lightsaber of Jedi Master Kota, the lightsaber Starkiller had specifically taken from the Jedi after their duel during his mission to Nar Shaddaa, and then given to Vader. Therefore, the Jedi lightsaber of Kota was now back in his hands. And surprisingly, despite the different hilt, crystal, and color of the blade, Starkiller utilized it for the first time on the Imperial with surprising effectiveness. As Starkiller realized, he and the blade were already one, and he again felt strong and powerful with it. But a crucial moment in the development of Starkiller's final lightsaber he would use against Vader and the Emperor came when he traveled to the planet of Kashyyyk, the planet he was raised on before being found by Vader. After finding an old hut on the planet, which had previously been his home, Starkiller was unable to stop himself from going inside after having a strange feeling surround him, despite the warning from Kota. Having entered the hut, and after almost being overwhelmed by a feeling of suffocation, Starkiller turned to leave. However, before he could exit the hut, he stopped when seeing a small blue crystal fragment on the ground, kneeling down to examine it more closely. When doing so, and when thinking why he'd been drawn to such a place, he was plunged into a vision that was stronger than any he'd ever experienced before. In the vision, he saw his father, whose true identity Starkiller didn't completely recognize in this moment, watching as Vader overwhelmed the Jedi in lightsaber combat. The victorious Vader then powerfully force-pushed the man into the hut Starkiller had been examining, watching as the Jedi's lightsaber flew from his hand, with the hilt shattering into a dozen pieces, and with it, the weapon's blue focusing crystal shattering across the floor. When the vision played out, Starkiller found the crystal was already within his hand, recognizing it was the Jedi's crystal from within the vision, having survived there for years. Given everything surrounding it, Starkiller took the blue crystal with him. Finally, the next important moment in the creation of his final lightsaber that would ultimately be destroyed by Vader came just before Starkiller returned to Raxus Prime. Traveling within his starship, the Rogue Shadow, Starkiller recognized it had been days since he last had time to meditate and perform his exercise of staring into the blade of his lightsaber to find focus. But it was then where he realized that despite the green-bladed lightsaber being useful, it wasn't his, which is to say, he wasn't the true owner of it. He knew it belonged to Kota, and therefore, he spent an hour replacing one of the green crystals of the lightsaber with the blue one he found on Kashyyyk. The way the novelization explains it, Starkiller didn't completely remove the green crystals and replace them with only the blue one, but fine-tuned the lightsaber so that by adding the blue fragment, the blade produced would be blue. After doing this, Starkiller now found the weapon seemed lighter than it was before, and moved better. Even more important, the lightsaber was now officially his, as the blue crystal and lightsaber belonged to him. This was something Starkiller could easily recognize when he performed his meditation with the new lightsaber for the first time, raising it to his eyes. As the world around him vanished, he knew he would only need this blue lightsaber for the remainder of his mission. Ultimately, as Starkiller's path changed from Sith apprentice to someone who stood up against and confronted the Sith, his lightsaber did as well. Just before his final confrontation with Vader and Sidious, Starkiller would ignite his lightsaber and find both strength and purpose within his blue blade, rather than seeing it as an instrument of destruction, as he believed his first red lightsaber had been. This was the lightsaber that Starkiller brought with him when he confronted the Sith to save his friends and the leaders of the rebellion. Starkiller completed his new path, and the lightsaber he created and utilized along the way was the perfect embodiment of this new path. Even though Starkiller and his lightsaber were destroyed by Vader and Sidious, in the end, they both carried out their mission, representing how one could turn away from the dark side of the Force. So there we have it. What happened to Starkiller's lightsaber after he confronted the Sith on the Death Star in The Force Unleashed, and how his lightsaber changed during his journey. Thank you very much to all of the Patreon members of Star Wars Reading Club, as your support is so greatly appreciated. You can find all of our social media links and a link to our Star Wars gaming channel in the description below for updates and even more Star Wars content. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me... For next turning to this part of the story.